Hey everyone, Jessica here, and I'm super excited to show you a little. I'm kind of starting a new series where I give you ideas for design or pattern motifs, usually with Photoshop brushes. And you can use these for, your actual pattern design, or you want to use them to make designs for phone cases, or even motifs for greeting cards or whatever. But the idea is to just kind of give you a little concept and give you a jumping off point to kind of start your own explorations and have fun. So for this one, I was really inspired by the fall couture shows, and I loved the colors in this look by Schiaparelli, and this is from the last, it's like fall 2019 couture, and I just love these colors in here. I love me some rainbow. So I created a pre-mixed color palette inspired by this look, and for the pattern stamp brushes, which most of you that are members or follow my work are really familiar with. So we're going to create kind of a pattern motif, and I was playing around and I created something kind of like this. And I just think it's fun and abstract, and I use the colors that are in this look here and created this palette. And then I thought I'd create a fun kind of just a fun abstract motif, and then you can turn this into a pattern or whatever, but I'm going to show you how I made this. So, and then you can create something, maybe change up the brushes or create something just like it, and then use it on your own design. So it's absolutely up to you, and the idea is to just give you a jumping off point. So to begin with, I'm going to take my pattern stamp tool like always. I've loaded up my color palette, so it's already loaded up in here. Double click the color palette to load it up. And if you're not familiar with loading my brushes or palettes, check my other playlist for my Impressionist brushes. But really all you have to do is double click them to load them. So I've got my pattern stamp tool here, got my pattern color palette loaded, and I'm going to go to my document. And what I did, this one took a little bit to fill the document, so I went ahead and did this. So I painted out in Artistic Autumn brush number 23, which is one of my big, favorite ones. I just went through and filled this in like this. So I kind of upped the brush size because this was a big document and filled it in like so. But I don't want to leave it kind of watercolor like this. I want to do something different. So I'm going to duplicate that layer. I will go to Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur, and I will play with the blur until you can move it down or move it up so that it's really blurred. But if it's really blurred, it's going to just like turn into a solid color. So I'm going to kind of play with it until I'm happy. That looks good. And then I can still see these pops of color. And that's going to be really fun for the background. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm pretty much using the same color palette the whole time. So this pattern stamp brush is still selected with this color palette. I'm going to change my brush, and I'm going to use, I made these new pattern brushes. Let's see here. Yeah, so in the Instant Access folder, you can download these. They're under today's date, 7/25, and it's some new pattern party brushes. So this first one is kind of like a little stitch sort of funky motif, kind of like embroidery or a stitch, but just a little bit different, and it's pressure sensitive, so you can make it thin or thicker. And so I'm going to take this brush and just create some kind of circle motifs like this. And I think that looks really cool, so I'll just create a couple. And then, you can play with this, kind of make it your own, maybe even do a different shape. Let's see here, let me undo that. I'll just do a couple side by side. And I love how all the different colors come out with the pattern stamp tool. So this looks like it takes like a lot of time, but it's so easy. And I am all about letting Photoshop do the work. And I will create a new layer underneath this. And actually, if you look at my design, I added this little bit of this emboss here, and my layer styles are also in the Instant Access folder. So I've given you this layer style, and as long as you're working on a pretty similar size, then you can just apply that layer style. It's called emboss. And it kind of just creates a little bit of a depth and texture, which I think is really nice. So I've already provided that for you. So there you go. And now I'm going to make a new layer underneath it, and I'm going to create these gold splatters. And I picked out a gold color that I really liked, which is from my 24 karat gold collection. It's 26A. So I'm going to click that, and I've actually just went ahead and included it for you in the style. So you can just apply that to the layer while you're painting. And then I am going to actually take a brush from my recent collection, my Jungle Love collection. I'm going to take Jungle Love brush number 16. And it's this really cool brush like that, and I love this kind of effect that it has with the warbly kind of line. So I'm just going to go kind of around my motif like this and just kind of have fun and play with it. You know, doesn't have to be perfect, but for this motif, I'm going to just kind of go around part of one of the things. So that's cool, and I love it, and I love how that gold turns out. I think it's just spectacular. And then, so it's like this cool kind of motif, and I'm just loving how this is turning out. And then you can play with some more and layer on maybe some more brush strokes around the side like I did on some of these. So in fact, this was like an artistic autumn brush. So I'm going to make a new layer. I will make it underneath the gold. And if you notice, I'm still using my pattern stamp tool. I'm not even changing my color palette. I am going to go, and I think like I grabbed Artistic Autumn brush number 29. But the cool thing is like now you kind of have a motif going, and now you can just kind of like experiment and make it your own. So on the one that I did, I liked going around the edges with this color palette. Oops. Going a little bit slow because my computer is doing a lot of things, and my computer, to be honest, I need to get a new one. It's getting a little bit old, but I think that's like really fun. And even like I make a new layer underneath it, I might grab again like my Artistic Autumn 23 and just kind of, I think I like these ones. But the cool thing is like I can delete that. Just play around and like try some different brushes and look how everything comes out. So I'm here in my Artistic Autumn, and the cool thing is you know, you've kind of got this base motif. I think it looks cool, but you can play around with other brush strokes and just have some fun with it. Or, you know, this even looks cool, like 36 kind of coming out from behind the gold. So just experiment and have fun. And I love like you can make these really cool motifs with just a few brush strokes, and then you know you can do whatever you want, turn it into a pattern, you know, what have you. But the possibilities are endless. So I'm all about like letting Photoshop do the heavy lifting and just have fun with it, you know, like but I love creating beautiful things like this, and it looks like it's complicated, but you know, you and I know that it's super easy. So I hope you enjoy this this tutorial. Kind of gives you some ideas for a jumping off point. Make something like this, make something exactly the same, and you can use it in your items for sale and all of that. So if you have any questions, let me know in the comments, and if you want to see more of these kind of tutorials, just let me know. And I kind of went a little long on this one, but I'll try to keep them pretty short, and that way I can kind of knock them out and give you guys lots of good ideas, and not just the ideas, but the tools to make them. So hopefully you enjoyed this, and I'll see you on the next tutorial.